Muise. He is co-founder and chief counsel at the American Freedom Law Center.
Well, what an honor and a privilege to speak to you today. I always enjoy speaking to God-loving, flag-waving, patriotic Americans like you. You know, you represent the heart and soul of America, and our founding fathers understood that, because it is we, the people of the United States, that has ordained and established the Constitution. And our Constitution protects God-given rights, those rights endowed to us by our Creator. And first among those rights is the right to free exercise of a religion, a right that cannot be taken away by any government, including our own. What a great day today to be exercising our First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and to peaceably assemble, rights that we possess now, at least for the time being. Today, we're standing up for religious freedom, a right that is also enshrined in the First Amendment, because it is our first liberty, one that cannot, because we will not allow it to be taken away by the Obama administration. You know, I had the honor and privilege to serving our country in the United States Marine Corps for 13 years. And as a Marine officer, I took a solemn oath to God to defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I fear that we now have a domestic enemy to our Constitution occupying the White House. This past January, I formed the American Freedom Law Center along with my legal partner, David Yerushalmi. I am a Catholic, father of 12 children. As I like to say, they are all boys except for 10. And David, my law partner, is an Orthodox Jew. So we describe ourselves as the nation's first truly authentic Judeo-Christian law firm. And we formed our law firm to fight for our faith and freedoms, which are grounded in our Judeo-Christian moral values and heritage. You know, David today is speaking at a similar freedom rally in Trenton, New Jersey. And I highlight that here today because this is not just a Catholic issue. It's an American issue. When our fundamental rights are abridged by the government, all Americans suffer, all Americans lose. That is why we filed a federal lawsuit this past February in New York on behalf of Priests for Life, challenging the constitutionality of the HHS mandate. You know, certainly our lawsuit, like all the others that were mentioned, was filed to protect religious freedom, and it's not about contraception per se. Because as we know, under our Constitution, the government cannot compel conduct that substantially burdens an individual's religious beliefs or practices, and that is exactly what the Obama mandate does. But you know, there's even more to this debate. When you consider this contraception mandate in the broader context of government-mandated Obamacare, one must ask, at what point does the use of contraception become mandatory, if not at a minimum socially obligatory? When the government can control, that is, ration health care, at what point does it start imposing burdens upon families that have more than one child, for example? At what point does the government start penalizing the birth of a child and rewarding the use of contraception, abortifacients, and sterilization? Indeed, the liberal left views pregnancy as a disease that can be prevented via contraception and sterilization, and worse yet, treated by abortion. Unfortunately, now that government-mandated health care is being imposed upon us and the government is running up huge deficits, a China-like 1 or 2 child policy may be in the not-so-distant future. No! After all, isn't it not cheaper and therefore less of a burden upon the government's resources to fund contraception, sterilization, and abortion than it is to provide a lifetime of health care to an individual, particularly if that individual may be born or expected to be born with a disability? You see, this is an exceedingly dangerous precedent that we're heading upon. In fact, just recently, Kathleen Sebelius, the head of Obama's Department of Health and Human Services, said precisely that. She told Congress that it's important for the government to provide contraception because it's cheaper than having to provide health insurance once the child is born. Indeed, Sebelius reiterated an argument that Obama made for the contraception mandate months ago, where he defended this contraception mandate, saying that no one really pays for birth control because reducing the number of people born will lessen health insurance costs in the long run. This is exceedingly dangerous. Aside from bridging our fundamental constitutional right to the free exercise of religion, we are headed toward a China-like one-child policy. It must be stopped. Just recounting those facts here sends a chill up my spine. You know, Ronald Reagan astutely observed that our American freedoms are not handed down to us through the bloodstream. We must constantly fight for and protect them, protect these freedoms, because they are just one generation away from becoming extinct. We cannot let our religious freedoms become extinct on our watch during our generation. We must continue to fight, continue to let our voices be heard, and never give up. Make no mistake, we are a blessed nation, but only so long as we don't turn our backs on God. As our founding fathers well understood this, George Washington, in his farewell address, reminded all future Americans, reminded all of us here in the Diag, that religion and morality are the indispensable supports to our political success. Our Constitution does two primary principles. It protects liberty and it prevents tyranny. We must not, we will not let the tyranny of the Obama administration destroy our liberty. Not on our watch, not on my watch. May God bless you and may God bless America.